Hello friends, welcome to the MOOCs on Entrepreneurship Development. We are into the module number 8, which is the last module, and this specific video is on the financial management. The contents of my presentation: first is what is financial management, and then we shall be discussing the working capital management and the financial ratios and their significance. Now, first is what is financial management. Well, financial management refers to the strategic planning, organizing, directing and controlling of financial undertakings in an organization. The primary objective of the financial management process is to optimize the financial and economic benefits of an investment. The financial management takes the financial decisions under three main categories, namely the investment decisions, the financing decisions and the dividend decisions. Now, we will be discussing mainly two activities. One is the working capital management and then the financial ratios. So, first is the working capital management. Well, every business needs funds for two purposes, that is for its establishment and to carry out day to day operations. Funds required for the establishment of a business get invested in purchase of fixed assets in the form of plant, machinery, land, building and furniture, etc. Requirement of funds for creating these facilities is termed as the fixed capital. On the other hand, the funds are required in a business to carry out the day to day operations. Business needs money to purchase the raw materials, to maintain the work in progress, to maintain the required level of stocks of finished goods, to meet day to day running expenses like payment of wages and salaries, office expenses and to sustain the business activities during the period for which the goods have been sold on credit. This means the money will flow into the business on completion of process cycle, which involves these steps. First is the purchase of raw materials, followed by conversion of raw materials into the work in progress. Then comes the conversion of work in progress into the finished goods, and then we sell the finished goods on credit. So, credit sales and conversion of the credit sales again into the cash. So, this is known as the operating cycle. So, this is the operating cycle on your screens. So, we have the cash initially. From the cash we convert the cash into raw materials, that means we purchase the raw materials from the cash. So, from the raw materials we have the work in progress, and then from there we have the finished goods. The goods are ready to be sold and then we sell them on credits, that is receivables, and then again we get back the cash. So, this is known as the operating cycle or the process cycle, and the money which is required to run this cycle is called as the working capital. So, in simple words, the working capital refers to that part of a firm's capital which is required for financing the short term or the current assets such as the raw materials, components, finished goods and the debtors, etc. Funds thus invested in current assets keep revolving fast and are being constantly converted into cash, and this cash flows out again in exchange for other current assets. Hence, it is also known as the revolving or circulating capital or the short term capital. Now, let us discuss different selling terms and the conditions. In a typical business situation, the goods can be sold on three bases. Number 1, advance basis, that means you pay the money in advance and then you get the goods. Second is cash basis and third is credit basis. Most of these scarce or quota based raw material like steel, coal, etc. are supplied on advance basis, while goods like furnace oil, machinery space, etc. are sold on cash payment. Most of the engineering goods and consumer goods of competitive nature are supplied on the credit basis. Now, let us discuss the factors which affect the quantum of working capital. The quantum of working capital will basically depend upon two factors. First is the level of activity. Now, let us assume that a firm is producing 10,000 units of a particular product per month. The firm desires to raise its production from 10,000 units to 15,000 units in the coming months. The firm will definitely need more amount of working capital in comparison to the current requirement of the working capital. And the second factor is the duration of the operating cycle. The duration of the operating cycle is very important in working out the quantum of working capital. Shorter the operating cycle, lesser will be the requirement of the working capital, and longer the duration of the operating cycle, more will be the requirement of the working capital. Now, any variation in the duration of the stocking period of raw materials and the finished goods, and increase or decrease in the work in progress and the credit period will result in change in the duration of the operating cycle. Now, let us talk of the different sources of financing the working capital. The first is your own funds or the equity of the entrepreneur. Well, the financial institutions and the commercial banks, while extending the credit to the entrepreneur, insist upon bringing in a minimum required promoters contribution by the entrepreneur. The promoters contribution is also termed as the own funds or the margin money or the equity. The amount of own funds is partly utilized towards acquisition of the fixed assets and partly as margin money towards the working capital. The second source is the sundry creditors. Well, the credit available against the purchase of materials is used to meet the working capital needs. For example, a small unit is engaged in cloth printing on a job work basis, where the customer himself or herself gives the cloth to be printed. The unit gets about 1 month credit on purchase of dyes and chemicals required for printing, while many times the printing is completed in a week's time, and the printing charges may be received after 7 days from the date of delivery of the printed cloth. Thus, the unit is able to effectively finance its entire working capital needs from the creditors itself. The third source could be advances from the customers. If a firm is manufacturing goods which are in short supply, or goods are manufactured to customer specifications on advance order basis, the firm normally expects some advance payments from the customers at the time of placing order. The money received as advance payment can be utilized to partly finance the working capital requirements. Next is the working capital loan from the commercial banks. Commercial banks are the most popular source of financing of the working capital requirement of small scale units. Normally, 70 to 80% of the working capital requirements of small scale units is financed by the commercial banks. Now, let us go to the next part of this presentation, which is on the financial ratios and their significance. Well, a banker applies different methods or techniques to appraise the credit proposal or a loan application. One such tool is the ratio analysis. It helps the analyst or the banker in arriving at a conclusion with respect to the solvency of a firm or the company and in forecasting the trends analysis. Now, let us look into the classification of financial ratios. The financial ratios can be broadly classified in many categories and subcategories. So, let us talk about them one by one. Like first is the stability ratios. Under this, there are different subcategories like the proprietary ratio and the total liabilities to the net worth ratio, which is also known as the debt equity ratio, very commonly known as. The second classification is the liquidity or the credit ratios. Under this, we have different subcategories like the current ratio, the quick ratio. The third major category is the turnover ratios, and this we have different subcategories like total assets turnover ratio, fixed assets turnover ratio, net sales to net worth plus deferred liabilities ratio, inventory turnover ratio, sundry debtors to average debts ratio. The next category is profitability ratios. In this we have gross profits to the net sales ratio, then net profit to the sales ratio, return on capital employed ratio, net profit to total assets ratio. Coming to the next category, we have the appropriation ratios. In this we have different subcategories like the depreciation to gross block ratio and the tax provision to the pre-tax profit ratio. The next category is the capitalization ratios, in which we have mainly three categories, subcategories, which are the capital gearing ratio and the deferred liability capital ratio, and the third is the equity capital ratio. The last major category may be called as the debt service coverage ratios. So, these are the different types of financial ratios, and then there are subcategories which the bankers normally see to assess the proposal of a entrepreneur. We will discuss only some of them which are very important amongst all these ratios. So, the first is the current ratio. Now, one of the first tests used for analyzing the solvency of a company is the comparison of its current assets with the current liabilities. By comparing the current assets to the current liabilities and knowing the cushion available for the working capital, it is possible to get an idea of the liquidity of the company. There is no ideal current ratio in a business. However, a current ratio of about 2:1 may be considered near ideal. A higher current ratio may indicate that the company is not borrowing by way of long term loans to the full extent. The second is the debt equity ratio. This ratio represents the relationship of the creditor's equity to the owner's equity in the assets. Although a debt equity ratio of 2:1 may be considered near ideal, it cannot be considered as a yardstick. The debt equity ratio gives a measure of the owner's stake in running of the company vis-a-vis the creditors. And the third is the profits to the net worth ratio. The profits to the net worth ratio indicates the ratio of the profit return on the owner's capital funds. Based on this ratio, the board of directors of a company decides the rate of dividend to be paid to the shareholders or the ratio of the bonus shares to be declared. So, these are some of the ratios which we have discussed in little bit in detail. For further details, you can refer to the online study material. Thank you so much.